How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another tutorial. Now, this is not my normal Minecraft IKEA tutorial. This is an actual house tutorial. Now, this is something I've been building a lot lately. This style is anyways, and I've also been live streaming a lot lately, kind of doing those builds, and a lot of people have requested a tutorial for this particular house. So I wanted to go ahead and do that today, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. It is a 3-part tutorial series. Yeah, it's a steampunk medieval style, and I think you guys will really like it. It's a lot different from what I normally do, and it has a lot of room for inspiration and growth. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I do. I don't do the interior, so you are free to, use your imagination on that. Anyways, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight on into it. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and get straight on with the tutorial. Alright, the first thing I always do whenever I film tutorials is I go over the block palette. Before I do that though, I am going to say a brief disclaimer. This particular build uses a resource pack. You can find a link to that in the description below. It is my own custom one. However, don't leave just yet. You can use just straight default if you want. You can find plenty of substitutes. This itself is actually just white stained clay. I just have it textured as washed brick, and this of course is a thatch texture. You could use normal oak if you wanted. It really doesn't matter. I'm just using my own just because I've kind of developed a popularity with it on this channel, so a lot of people prefer I use it, and hopefully you understand. So let's go ahead and start with the frame. Now, one of the things I wanted to do when building this house the first time is I wanted to come up with something that I could use to escape my style. I'm used to building in a modular pattern like this, doing little sections of 3 followed by 2 support beams on the side. However, I really did not want to do that in this particular case. I just wanted to start placing blocks until I could build something. And I started with a simple 5x5 hollow in the middle square made out of stone bricks just like this. And even though I tried to get away from the modular pattern, I still put the logs on the side. However, I do kind of go astray with this whole thing throughout the build, so don't worry too much. This will be a much better looking build in the end, and it won't use this little 3x3 pattern the entire time. It'll get much different, but we're gonna start by going 5 blocks high, and I'm just gonna do the frame for now, and we'll fill it all in a moment. The next thing we're gonna do is place logs across each connecting piece here. So these are like the actual support beams, where these are the support beams, and these are like the horizontal ones, so vertical and horizontal. So it's a stone brick layer on the bottom, then we're gonna have 3 layers of the washed out brick or the stained clay, and then followed by a log on the top. Now this is where it gets a little bit weird. We're gonna add a support beam on 2 sides like this, just going straight across all the way and pointing out slightly at the end. So this, if you did it correctly, it should allow you to place 1 block right there in the middle, but we're not going to do that. That's just kind of a reference. Then we're going to kind of make it look like they are threading through each other on these sides and connect 2 little pieces sticking out just like that. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and place 4 blocks kind of in the log pattern upwards just like this, vertical beams. Now the reason I added the 2 beams on the side here going this way is because it kind of opens up the general area. If we just kept this shape, we'd have a very small house, and as it is already, wherever the entrance is going to be, I haven't decided yet, this is just going to be a simple stairwell, or you could put a ladder there or something leading you up to the main floor, which will be here. So this is much more open. We have about a 3x5 space. And we're also going to add a window in, and this is actually one of my favorite designs ever. It's really cool, and we're going to choose a side for it. So I think we're going to go with this side for the actual window. And I'm not going to build it yet, but I'll do the frame. So what we're going to do is start by adding a beam right across just like that. We're going to go over here and grab our spruce wood stairs and basically just place 2 just like that, followed by 2 pillars right there. And we'll add to that once we start adding the filler blocks, but that's the general frame for that side. And then on these, we're going to go across with more beams along the top, just like this. And then we're going to go 2 blocks up on those. Now the way I have this house kind of laid out is we have the little pillar on the bottom, the support area, and it is really small, but it'll make sense once it's done. This is kind of one of those steampunk medieval type builds, so hopefully you guys are okay with this style. If you're watching it, I assume you are, but basically there's this little support area down here, followed by the main cage house area. This is where the actual house would be, and then a little window area, which will kind of expand the room. The overall floor space, let me get a simple block to use to show as an example. The overall floor space would be pretty much this entire area. So it's kind of a 4 by 5 across. So that general area would be the overall space, plus a few more here. So it would be about there. So that's about the space you'd be looking at. You could add a pillar here if you wanted. So generally that would be the actual room space. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those and replace what I had there. Alright, I think that was correct. And that's pretty much it for the frame, but the way it is gonna kind of work from there, aside from this window, we're gonna have a huge like chimney on the side back here. So do nothing with this wall. Keep this like completely plain, because we're gonna have a furnace go all the way up to the top along the side. You could kind of mess around with these windows if you want and add one over here as well, but I find that it looks a lot better just doing it on one side. Otherwise it looks really weird. So the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead with our stone bricks and do this kind of pattern like this. You first choose which side you want the door to be on, and I usually do the door right under the window. It just kind of looks nice. So don't do this particularly on this side, but what you're gonna do is do 2 blocks followed by 1 and then another 2 blocks. So 2 on the sides and then 1 in the middle, and just do that all the way around. This kind of gives it some support so it looks like it's not just gonna tumble over or fall on its own weight. You're going to add these stone bricks to the top of each one, just like this. And I'll show you what to do with the entrance. It's a little different, but it kind of makes sense. It's something I do for pretty much all of my builds. So what you're going to want to do is do an upside down stair like that. 1 on the bottom normal, just like that. Followed by 2 going inwards, and they'll connect to the side ones obviously. And then 1 upside down one there. And then that is where your door would be. So the next thing we're going to do is start adding the filler blocks. This part is much more fun because it's kind of, you know, you start seeing the actual finished product. So I'm going to start with this window here because it is really different. So we're going to get our spruce half slabs for this particular design, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing. It is a little weird. I need to kind of remember how I did it. I guess we'll start by just adding in the actual washed out brick. So we're going to start with a shape like that. And then these will go all the way back like that, and eventually there will be a block like this, and then we'll have kind of a design like that. Those will go like that, and then we'll have one there. Hopefully that makes sense. It is a little weird. It is much more different compared to everything else that I've ever done, but it's just really, since there's nothing else that has this same design on the entire house with an outside window, you can really go all out. You could do anything you wanted. Like you could do that even. I just did this because, I don't know, it was kind of a new thing. I mean, you could do that as well. It was just something kind of on the spot, and you can really do whatever you want with that, but it'll make sense once it's all pieced out and put together. So now that that's added, we're going to go in between these areas here and start adding the blocks of washed out brick. And this is the main wall. Again, you could use wool, you could use, you know, white stained clay as I am, and all that kind of stuff. It really does not matter. It's just up to you. This style though, since I am using my own resource pack, I am theming it after like a medieval like style. So if you do use other blocks, you might lose that, you know, integrity, if that is the correct word. So I'm going to fill that in temporarily. And then we're going to go along the sides here and just add them up. It looks like I did forget these to put them back anyways. It's just good to have them there while you're building it. But once you're doing interior, you are free to remove those blocks. As you can see, there's nothing there, so it's all good. Then we're going to do this one as well. And you can see we have plenty of room back here. Or down here for the basement. I mean, it's not really a basement. This is the entrance. You could do the entrance on this level if you wanted, but it would kind of lose the design. It is a really weird style house, I'll tell you that, because to have a really small room here, you'd pretty much only be able to fit either a ladder or a stairwell. But that's fine. You know, maybe it's a flooding protection thing. This would be the main floor area. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up. The next thing we're going to do is just fill in these side areas with 2 blocks. And then we're going to fill in these side areas with 2 blocks going up as well. So it's a 5x2 rectangle of washed out brick. And then similar to what we did here, we're going to create a windowsill right there. So it's just 3 blocks followed by 1 on the top, just like that. There we go. Nope, not quite there. Just like that, okay? And you're starting to see the shape of it. It's looking really good in my opinion. What to do next, basically, is add these little poke out bits. It's kind of like we did there. So this is just something I do for all my builds. It helps add to the support, and I really like my system, so I don't change it up too much. The shape of builds is kind of what I'm working on right now, and I think this is a really good example of my progress. So the next thing we're going to do to follow up this area down here to finish it off is add in these little support beams. And it is a little weird. I'm not going to do this side yet. It is a little weird, but once you have it all done and you decorate and stuff with the exterior, it kind of all falls into place. So the next thing we're going to do is, I'll do the roof last probably, I think. Or maybe we'll go ahead and do it now. Why not? So I'm going to grab my hatch block. You can use anything you want as long as it has the color similar to oak wood. But you're going to go along the top just like that, and then you're going to add 2 little extra bits right there on the end. So all the way across, and you're going to do the same thing on the bottom one. Now this is not going to be the final roof. It's going to look extremely clean cut, but I promise, like, you can seriously change this up. You will see what we're going to do. This is not going to be as clean as it looks. Like right now it's very plain. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just with the style this house kind of fits under, it would be much better to tear it up, and you'll see exactly what I mean there at the end. But I'm going to leave it to you guys as an option. If you want, you do not have to tear up the roof. Just kind of decide once I've already done it. I think it'll probably be in the next episode of the series. Hopefully this series isn't too long, but I know it's not going to be one whole episode. But I think that is going to do it for this particular episode. Feel free to check out part 2, which should be uploaded tomorrow. Hopefully you're watching this and it's already out, but I will link to it at the end. But yeah, we're making really good progress. It's looking great. We still have to add the windows in, the furnace, and more decoration. And yeah, so I will catch you guys in the next tutorial.